Morning, Trainiacs. We got a bit of a swim run kind of day ahead of us here. Water run, not so super cool. What is cool is that after 3 or 4 months since before Half Ironman Worlds, I've been using the Stryd Running Power Meter, power for running, and I've got a good enough handle on it to do full review. Here it comes, after a swim and a run. Some days, Trainiacs, I just can't get over how cool I look water running. But it's all about how cool you look at the finish line with a really good time, and how cool you look in the pool. All right, now on to actual cool things like brand new running tech. Stryd Running, power meter running. All right, so let's talk about that. The Stryd Running Power Meter. I started using this, I would say about 3 weeks before Half Ironman Worlds, so like middle of August. And at that point, to get all of the possible benefits from using this, where you can start pulling data from it, that wasn't enough time. And then I went into the off season. So with all of that, it's just now after like September, October, November, 3 months that I've finally got a really good handle on if you should use one of these, who should use them, why you might want to use them, because frankly, I was pretty skeptical. I have been historically very much a meat and potatoes kind of runner. I like to do it by feel. I like to build my body awareness. I'm not a big data geek, but I started trying this and I think it certainly has a lot of merit. So let's get into it. So this thing is a foot pod. You end up mounting it on the inside of your laces, and there's a very specific way to do it. You put the clip in first, and then you have to insert the top first, and then you clip into the bottom. If you do it the other way around, you're probably gonna damage the top little tab on the Stryd meter, and you might not be able to get it back on. But why you wanna do this is for a couple of reasons. Number one is that it's a running pod for use with something like Zwift, where you end up going Zwift running. You need a measurement device to start getting Zwift the speed, cadence, and distance data. Foot pods are a really good way to do that. They're actually very accurate. But if that's all it was, it would be the most expensive foot pod available. Most foot pods that you can use with Zwift start around $30, go up to around $60. This is $199. So you're like, well, why in the world would I use this? Well, the power with this is literally the power and the power center. This is essentially the same as using cycling power. So where cyclists will end up using power zones based off of an FTP number, this serves the same function. A couple of differences between this and cycling power is that cycling power has a really big range. So in my case, really easy on the bike is somewhere around 100 watts. Really hard is around 900. In this case, really, really easy is about 170 watts. Really, really hard, about 340. So the training bands are quite a bit narrower. And that ability to use power with your running, basically the exact same way that you would use it with cycling, is why this is so good and useful for people that want to get the most accurate numbers to do their pacing by. If on a run you're using heart rate, well, heart rate tends to lag. So if you hit a hill, it might be until you're halfway up that hill before your heart rate actually catches up, and then you go, oh, I'm going too hard. If you're going downhill, your heart rate might take a while to end up dropping. Your pace on hills or with the wind at your front or your back is completely all over the map. Perceived exertion, once you get into a race, well, you can go and absolutely cook yourself because you get into that race and you're like, oh geez, everyone's going and I feel really good, so I'm gonna hammer it. All of that is a really fuzzy way to approach your racing, and it's a really fuzzy way to approach your training. But with this, you have an instant indication of what kind of effort you're putting out. If you go up on a hill and you want to check and see how far up from your target power number you are, you've got an instant indication. It's exactly like cycling power in that it is a check. It's not your absolute go-to guideline. It's a nice stress test to give you kind of a better understanding of how to approach a race when you're in it. And a couple of the similarities with this and cycling power is that it doesn't account for perceived exertion. Let's say if you really nailed your taper and all of a sudden your perceived exertion is really low, but your power numbers are really high, you're going to have to adjust based off of that and know what you're capable of. And it also isn't going to account for something like altitude. So this isn't the be-all, end-all, just like cycling power is not the be-all, end-all, but it basically has the same applications. Now, speaking of power, the Stryd Power Centre is a really, really cool thing. After about, I think it's like 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how much you run, this ends up building a profile for what type of runner you are. And it's actually really accurate. So I go and I look in the profile, and what it says is I'm very, very good at short, powerful bursts, basically sprinting. But when it comes to longer endurance-based work, I need to work on that. So it gives you a guideline of these are the best workouts for you to do to improve your running. These are ones that you're already quite good at. And that's bang on. I'm built for sprinting and power. I am not built for long endurance events. It's a good thing that I picked ultra endurance sport to also go into that power center and look back on a workout or a race and see where you might have fallen apart. So I look back on half Ironman Worlds and it felt like my pace had dropped around 13, 14 kilometers. What this ended up telling me is that at that point, sure enough, my leg spring stiffness, basically my mechanical ability to get off the ground really quickly, which this monitors, ended up falling apart. So that tells me that I need to do longer sustained runs at race pace that take me beyond that 13K. I can also start incorporating like, say, a 13 to 15K tempo run and then some jump rope, which is what pro triathlete Ben Canute. It's what I ended up doing to improve my leg spring stiffness towards the end of a race. So if you're looking for the most accurate measurement of your effort level, this is going to be it. In addition to that, Fellrunner, Fellrnnr, did a comparison of all the different measurement devices, and by far, the Stryd Running Power Meter, which doesn't even require calibration, was the most accurate and the most reliable because they have algorithms that are measuring basically each stride, how high, how much forward, and how far back your leg is kicking, and all through those algorithms through an accelerometer and not an accelerometer, but like a movement tracker. It's taking all of that data and processing the most reliable speed, cadence, distance measurements that you can possibly get. So if you like that data, if you like being able to look back and analyze your runs, if you like being able to dive into some details and get suggestions for how to improve your runs, if you like having training bands when you're doing your cycling training, this is really good. A couple of the downsides to it, it's $199. It's pretty expensive as far as foot pods go. And then second, this is a Zwift problem. It's not a Stryd problem, but Zwift currently doesn't support power data. So what I end up doing is when I'm running on Zwift, I pair it to Zwift and I end up getting all of that data on the screen on Zwift, but I actually track the run simultaneously on my watch. I can the Zwift run, I save this, so then it goes to the Stryd Power Centre, and then I don't think I move up any levels in Zwift. That's the downside. So is it good? Yes. Full transparency, Stryd has agreed to sponsor a campaign. So for the next couple of months, I am going to be sharing how to use this because it's so new. There's actually not a lot of content out in the world. So they are a supporter of this. But I ended up using this August, September, and October, all without being sponsored, because I wanted to make sure that anything that I said about this, I could say confidently. And it wasn't until now, like 3 months later, that they've actually sponsored it. So, oh, and I still use it. Like I've been using it this whole time. Every single run, I've made sure that I've got this. So the stress test that I use is, do I use it and do I say good things about it when I'm not getting paid? And in that case, yeah, I've been doing and saying that for 2.5, 3 months. So it's a good thing. If you're a data junkie, check it out. And if you aren't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. And if you are subscribed, I don't know, you're just like a really good long, powerful sprint session on hills, which I love. Don't love long runs. I got to work on that apparently.